The Vegas Golden Knights have had a great start to the year, but they have begun to stumble a little bit recently. Since the new year, they have gone 4-4 and certainly haven't looked as the team that they were at the beginning of the year. So I want to talk a little bit about what this team is doing right now and how they can kind of readjust, and my thoughts on the remaining part of the year. So if you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. It truly means the world to me, but let's not waste any more of your time. Let's go and get right into things. As mentioned, the Vegas Golden Knights have kind of started to slow down a little bit and stumble a little bit as of recent. Vegas currently sits 4-4 since the beginning of the new year, and for the first time all year, they have been knocked out of that one seed in their division, the Pacific Division, as well as they've lost the top spot in the Western Conference, now falling behind not only the Stars but also the Jets. And it's definitely, been a little bit iffy. Now, we're finally starting to see some of these top performers on the Vegas Golden Knights return from injury. Jack Eichel was out for a good portion of time, but he has finally returned and actually did play a pretty important role in kind of getting back on a roll last night, with being a little bit slow, if not feeling like he's completely absent in most of his newer, more recent games. Now, with a little bit over half of the season gone by, Vegas does sit in a really good spot to make the playoffs, which of course is the end goal for the regular season. Of course, the final goal is the championship, the Stanley Cup, but in regular season, you're just trying to make the playoffs, and they put themselves in a really, really good position. Nonetheless, though, they have started to stumble, and this, is about the time where you can stumble and still recover in time to get on a hot streak at the end of the year. So I'm okay with this at this current moment. It's okay. It happens. Even the best teams are going to stumble at times, but Vegas does need to hopefully pretty soon here start getting back on a roll. Now, last night, we did see the Vegas Golden Knights take down the Capitals in a 6-2 game, which was a very, very dominant game for the most part. And it seemed like it could have been a shutout, but there was 2 goals, of course, that slipped through Logan Thompson. And with a 6-2 win, that is a big-time win for the Vegas Golden Knights. And it broke their 3-game losing streak, which they had maintained after facing the Stars, Red Wings, and Oilers. There we are, Oilers. So, they're starting to get their way back to where they need to be through the remainder of the season. Now, breaking that 3-game losing streak is very, very important. Now, 3-game losing streak is not massive. It's something you don't want to see for your team, but it's not a huge, big-time losing streak there. Now, with a 29-16-2 record, they do currently maintain the top seed in the Pacific Division, but based on winning percentage, they do not hold the top seed, as the Kraken are one less game, so they could have, their game in hand. They could gain 2 points with a win their next game, and they have 59 points where Vegas has 60. So the Kraken do have a better points percentage, and with a win, they could take back that seed. Now, as mentioned, the Stars and the Jets both hold a better point overall than the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, the Golden Knights do hold a game in hand over the Stars, but the best the Golden Knights could do right now would be to move to 62 points, while the Stars have 63. Now, of course, the Stars did shut out the Knights just a couple games back, a complete shutout, 4-0, which is, a lot worse of a loss than, on paper, because Pete DeBoer, who was fired from the Vegas Golden Knights head coaching spot last year, is now the head coach of the Dallas Stars. So it is a little bit more rough of a loss there. But nonetheless, the Vegas Golden Knights do only sit slightly behind the number 1 seed in the entire Western Conference, and based on points, they are still the 1 seed in the Pacific Division with another game ahead of them tonight. So tonight at 7, we will see the Vegas Golden Knights take on the Coyotes, which, that is a really, really important game for them to maintain this kind of role that they've got back on. 6-2 win is a big-time win. And the Capitals, based on the record, maybe not as great as they truly are, with a 25-18-6 record on the entire year, and are not even in the top 3 of their division. They might not sound amazing, but since the beginning of the new year, since December 5th, the Capitals have went 15-7, and only the Boston Bruins, who are the #1 team in the entire NHL, have more wins in that time period. So they've definitely been doing good in recent times. So the Capitals is a pretty solid team, and Vegas winning in such a fashion is a great way to get back on track. And hopefully we can see something like that against the Coyotes. Now, Vegas Golden Knights saw the Coyotes 2 times, maybe even 3 times in the preseason, and have already seen them earlier this year, winning 5-2. Coyotes are not a great team, so hopefully Vegas can get on that 2-game win streak. But not only that, they kind of are in a spot where they can get back that 1 seed even after stumbling, because some of the games coming up here are a little bit easier. Maybe not super, easy, but a little bit easier. The next few games here are going to be against the Coyotes, the Devils, and the Rangers, who are both in the playoffs at the current moment and are top 3. I think the Devils are 2, and I think the Rangers are 3. You then have the Islanders and the Predators, who are both out. The Wild, who are the 3 in their division. And then you have Ducks, Sharks, and Lightning. And then Blackhawks, Flames. You got a really, really good stretch here for the next, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 games. You have a little bit easier of a schedule than, it's a pretty good way of bouncing back from a 3-game losing streak. And yes, that's not a huge, stretch of games that you're losing. But this is a pretty good setup here to get, your skates back under you and get back on a roll. Of course, as mentioned, you got Devils and Rangers, who are both currently in the playoffs. You have Islanders and Predators. I think the Predators are just a little bit outside. The Wild are in, so you got 3. The Lightning are in, and I think the Flames are out. So you have four teams of, your next 11 games are in the playoffs. That's a pretty good setup there. Less than 50% of the games coming up are against playoff teams. So you can kind of get back on a roll. You take down some of these playoff teams, you can get on a good roll, but as long as you can beat the teams that you're better than, which I'd say a good portion of these teams are, this team, Vegas, can maintain a good spot in the playoffs, can hopefully maintain their top seed in their specific Pacific division, and with a little bit of luck, whether from beating some tough teams or some unlucky losses to the other teams such as the Stars and the Jets, Vegas could even take back that top seed in the West. So, the Knights do have a little bit of an easier schedule coming up. And with, just a few months away from the end of the season, we're a little bit over halfway through the year, which is already crazy to think about. Vegas is in a really, really good spot to start creeping on that chance to break into the playoffs. As mentioned, 100 is normally pretty much a guarantee to make it into playoffs, 100 points. Vegas, at 60 currently, would need 40, which means they only need to win 20 more games, which would put them at 49 wins, which, is only a little bit over 50%, but nonetheless, that's not too crazy to think about. 49 wins. Yes, it's 20 more wins, which is a decent jump there. But I think we can all agree that this team is a team that should be sitting well above 500. And at 500 being 41-41, 8 wins over that, I think they can definitely jump into that 50 wins category. Maybe not 60, but I think they could kind of get close there. So Vegas, just kind of needs to get their grip back on things, get their skates back underneath them, get healthy, be smart, and hopefully figure out some things in the offensive zone for the most part, because this team gets a lot of their points in the fast-paced transition. So if they can figure out the offensive side inside the blue line, this team, if they can get scoring, could still be a very dominant team, which they seem to be early on in the year. And that's going to be it. This is a very, very quick video, only probably about 10 minutes or so. But that's kind of all we need. There's not too much to talk about. I just made a, mid-season recap for the Vegas Golden Knights. It was a little bit longer than I recall, but I think at that point, we've only seen about 6 or so games since that point, so there's not a whole lot to talk about. But I really think Vegas, although they kind of stumbled here, can get back on track here and get moving in the right direction. But what do you guys think? What do you need to see Vegas do to remain at their top seed and be competitive team, contending team in the NHL, what do you think they need to do? If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. It truly means the world to me. And as always, I hope it's taught something today. I hope it made you smile. I hope it made you laugh. Something really important to me. Affects my day in a great way, because every single day can be a great day for you all. Just put in the effort. And as always, you guys all be safe out there.